Hi, my name is Lawrence McClure, and I work in the surgical ICU at Oxford Main Campus in New Orleans. I just graduated from nursing school in May and am finishing up my 3-month orientation period this next week. And so the week after that, I will begin to take care of patients on my own, although thankfully with the support of an experienced nurse, the charge nurse, and other staff around me. So in the ICU, we have access to the EMR. In each patient's room, there's a workstation that we primarily use for administering meds and collecting labs, because those are the only computers that have scanners hooked up to them where we can scan a patient's armband. And we also have a workstation outside of each patient's room where we can sit at a desk and chart and look through the window and keep an eye on the patients at all times. In order to make it easy to scan in and out of the EMR, since we frequently have to hop back and forth from one room to the other or from the workstation to the room and back again, there is an ID scanner at each workstation where after we type in our password the first time at the beginning of each shift, we can use that ID badge to just scan in and out, and it'll log us into our profile within the EMR. And the system is set up this way so that we can log in and out easily of the EMR to protect the patient's privacy, their private health information, and also the security of the physical system. Because when the EMR is open, anybody who starts digging around could not only access the information of the patient profile right in front of them, but could essentially access health information for any patient in the hospital or even within the hospital system if they knew how to navigate it well enough. And it's important in the ICU, in the surgical ICU, to keep this information private because we have patients with a lot of complex health situations, many of which are dealing with life and death decisions, whether or not to opt for a transplant or a major procedure or another auxiliary procedure, to withdraw support, to add an extra life support measure, or many other different factors. And if that person who is interested in being nosy isn't authorized to be part of these healthcare decisions, it's highly inappropriate that they know about this information and what's going on. And they may choose to use that to manipulate other friends or family members, or just to talk about it, and then that person's privacy is violated either while they're still alive or after they pass away. It's also important to maintain the privacy to avoid violations and fines. And in a scenario where you could easily violate this is if you're in a patient's room and you are administering meds and then you hear your other patients' alarms go off because their oxygenation levels are going down or their blood pressure is going up. You jump out of the room to go help the other patient, but you forget to close your workstation, the EMR on that workstation. It's possible that a visitor who is in the room goes and looks at the information that they're not supposed to be looking at. Or simply the visitor is in the room, is aware of HIPAA policies and reports you in the hospital for not upholding those policies. And then so both you and the hospital would be subject to a fine. So these are the ways and the reasons why that I can help to uphold HIPAA in my workplace.